Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Loki, who inherited immense powers in Elbaf after taking the fruit that belonged to his father, believes himself to be extremely powerful and the true sun god. However, Luffy has shown everyone that he is the true chosen one, and you'll see all of this in today's video. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, the latest chapter of One Piece introduced us to Loki, the king of Elbaf, who claims to be Loki, the one destined to destroy this world. However, we know that the true sun god is not the prince of Elbaf as he says he is, but rather Luffy, who is now standing in front of him. At this moment, Luffy is going to show him who the real king is. Let's take a look at the chapter and then discuss how this will affect Luffy's future. The chapter starts exactly where the last one left off, with Luffy ecstatic about finally reaching Elbaf. He admires the vastness of the island, babbling about the incredible size of the place, his excitement to meet the giants, and the imposing atmosphere that surrounds him. While Luffy keeps talking, Loki tries to communicate, but is constantly interrupted until he loses his patience. Loki exclaims commandingly, his voice echoing powerfully, "Silence, I'm speaking to you." Loki's shout is so intense that the wolves in the area back away frightened. At that moment, Loki is introduced with an information box describing him as he addresses Luffy, who is standing on Loki's right leg. Then, more about him is revealed on the screen. Cursed Prince of Elbaf, Loki, special bounty issued by the world government, 2.6 billion berries. With an authoritative stance, Loki says, "I am the sun god who has ruled this land for generations. Do not speak without my permission, human. Now tell me, what do you think of the state I'm in?" Luffy, observing Loki's situation, replies casually, "What do I think? You're obviously trapped." Loki responds ironically impressed. Very perceptive. But no one wants to be imprisoned, right? Like anyone else, if possible, I'd like to be freed as well. Rhodey. Annoyed, Luffy protests, "My name is Luffy, not Rhodey." Loki then explains that he's been in this situation for 6 years. He tells how despite being the most powerful in Elbaf, he was chained to the Atom Treasure Tree, a colossal tree that constitutes the kingdom of a warland. The chains binding him are made of sea stone, preventing him from escaping. With a mischievous smile, Loki proposes, "Let's make a deal, Luffy. You're a pirate, right? Find the key in the village above and set me free, and I'll crush a pirate crew of your choice." Loki explains that the area where they are, known as the Underworld, serves as both a prison and an execution ground for giants who committed crimes. There, the beasts that roam the forest keep anyone at bay. With a challenging tone, Loki adds, "I don't know your purpose for coming to this snowy mountain chain, but beware of the beasts here. Each one is the king of a mountain and my friend since childhood." In an impressive double-page spread, several massive beasts emerge from the forest, surrounding Luffy, including a polar bear, a gorilla, a wolf, a snake, and a mammoth, all with the air of mountain kings, reminiscent of the creatures Luffy faced on Rusakaina Island during his training. At that moment, a few masked humans appear, who are Loki's subordinates. They wear gas masks and animal pelts to protect themselves from the beasts. Luffy observes the scene calmly and says nostalgically, "What nostalgia?" Loki, in a threatening tone, taunts, "If you disobey me, these beasts won't stand still." But with a single move, Luffy subdues all the beasts, leaving Loki and his subordinates stunned. Luffy then jumps onto the hand of the gorilla, which, along with the other beasts, now looks at him with respect and admiration. Loki's subordinates, terrified, comment, "I hope this guy doesn't make us faint like the Yonku red-haired Shanks did when he was here." Hearing his mentor's name, Luffy asks in surprise, "You said Shanks?" One of the subordinates responds, "Yes, but something more urgent is happening here right now." Seeing Luffy's emotional reaction, Loki decides to provoke him. "So, you know Red Hair?" "Yes, he was here. Are we talking about that cowardly pirate, right?" Furious, Luffy activates Gear 4 and throws a punch toward Loki, who dodges at the last moment. Loki, his subordinates, and the beasts are all shocked by Luffy's power. Loki's subordinates scream, "Yeah, Loki-sama!" Frightened, Loki tries to retreat. "Wait, I was just kidding. It was only a joke." With a determined look, Luffy retorts, "Don't say that again." As he recovers from the shock, Loki thinks to himself, resentful, "If I ever get out of here, that guy will be the first to die." Luffy then asks about the reason for Shanks' visit to Elbaf and whether he is still on the island. Loki, keeping it mysterious, replies, "I'm not telling you that for free, you know?" Meanwhile, on the castle bridge, Nami and the others spot Road running toward them, with Gerd and Goldberg close behind. Zoro wants to confront them, but Usopp suggests they might be friends of Dory and Brogy, so they decide to run to the village at the top of Elbaf. Nami exclaims, desperate, "We're done for if they catch up to us." Back in the underworld, in another area, Hadrodin and Stanson the carpenter of the new giant pirates, take down a massive elk. Hadrudin celebrates. Digga-ga-gaga, we caught the elk. You don't see a creature like this in the forests above. Its meat is magnificent. Stanson, noting the creature's weight, asks, but how are we going to carry it back? Hadrudin responds determined, don't be weak. This meat is for those who saved our lives. Then, in a flashback, the events of Dressrosa and the formation of Hadrudin's new giant warrior pirates are shown. Hadrudin and Stanson then carry the elk and leave. On the Straw Hat ship, which is sailing close to Elbaf, Brooke is cutting Robin's hair at her request. Brooke, nervous, asks, how does it look, Robin-san? This is my first time cutting a lady's hair. I'm nervous. My heart is racing, even though I don't have one. Yo-ho-ho, skull joke. Lilith comments with humor. Kaya, haha, you don't have a heart. That makes no scientific sense. Bonnie smiles, praising, it looks lovely, Robin. Seeing the cut, Frankie exclaims, this style is nostalgic. Jianbei, smiling, adds, it suits you well. Nice job, Brooke. Then, the panel focuses on Robin, who now has bangs, returning to her pre-time skip hairstyle. Robin thanks him, smiling. It's perfect, thank you, Brooke. Brooke, satisfied, responds, yo-ho-ho, I'm glad to hear that. Noticing Robin's new hairstyle, Brogy comments, I see. This was the hairstyle you wore when you were with Saul, right? Dory adds, I'm sure he'd be happy to see you like this too. Frankie, moved, admits, this reunion is going to make me cry. Oimo adds, nostalgically, that's the hairstyle we met you with, Robin. Finally, the Straw Hat ship arrives in the sea region of Elbaf, and everyone aboard can see the gigantic island for the first time. The giants cheer. The mist has cleared. This is our island. Prepare to anchor. The Straw Hats are ecstatic. It's enormous. So this is the legendary island of the giants. As they approach, the giants exclaim excitedly, we'll make another toast as soon as we dock. Whoa! In the final panels of the chapter, somewhere in Elbaf, a distressed cry is heard. Help! Saul Sensei has fallen. He's not moving. And now, let's talk about the consequences of all this. In the next phase of the Elbaf arc, it's clear that Luffy will, unintentionally, awaken the true identity of the sun god for the giants, revealing himself as a much more powerful and iconic figure than they imagined. Elbaf reveres the sun god as a sacred entity that, according to their legend, governs the strength, leadership, and protection of the giants. Until now, Loki, the Prince of Elbaf, was considered this figure, with unparalleled strength and unquestioned authority. However, Luffy's arrival promises to change this perception. When Luffy uses Gear 5, he enters a mythical form that directly channels the energy of his indomitable and vibrant spirit. He transforms into a figure that exudes charisma and power in an almost divine way, something that deeply resonates with what the inhabitants of Elbaf believe to be the true sun god. The intensity and joyful energy that Luffy releases with his Gear 5 can be seen as the characteristics of a god who is both playful and fierce. By facing the giant beast and subduing Loki effortlessly, Luffy begins to dismantle the giant's concept of the sun god as a static and controlling figure, bringing a new vision that unites freedom and strength. This revelation doesn't happen because Luffy wants to steal Loki's title. In fact, he's not interested in honors. He simply acts according to his nature and responds to challenges with honesty and courage. However, by demonstrating his power, Luffy naturally inspires admiration and reverence among the giants, who finally see in Gear 5 a manifestation of what they believe to be divine. He not only surpasses Loki in power and charisma, but also represents unintentionally the spirit of the sun god in its purest and most inspiring form, giving the inhabitants of Elbaf a new reason to revere this title. Over time in Elbaf, it's possible that Luffy will inspire a cultural shift. The giants will see in Luffy a sun god who values freedom and mutual respect rather than submission and dominance. Thus, Luffy ends up showing that it's not necessary to rule to be followed, and that true divine power may lie in the ability to inspire others to follow their own paths. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.